I thought, oh my God, I've killed myself and these newsmen on national TV.
The winds are buffeting me here right now.
Been to war zones. This was worse than a war zone.
From the Weather Channel, this is Storm Stories with meteorologist Jim Cantori.
September 2004. Hurricane season is well underway.
Very active. If Hurricane Francis isn't enough for us, we now have Tropical Storm Ivan.
And the 9th named storm of the season, Ivan, is proving to be appropriately named. Ivan the Terrible blazes through Grenada, Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and Cuba, leveling whole neighborhoods. Thousands are left homeless. A staggering 67 people lose their lives. And Ivan is far from finished. It continues to churn in the Gulf of Mexico and heads straight to America's Gulf Coast.
Category 4 storm pushing into the Gulf of Mexico.
Very strong, very powerful wind to the panhandle of Florida.
Now the Gulf of Mexico looking extremely dangerous.
The water surge is starting to come up here on the road.
As we're looking at that storm system, it's huge, it's massive, it's dangerous.
In Pensacola, Florida, meteorologist Alan Strum watches the radar with growing alarm.
Where we were in the Weather Center looking through data, and there was a 53-foot wave measured.
As it approaches the U.S., Ivan is now a strong Category 3 hurricane. Forecasts project the eye will make landfall around Mississippi. Pensacola, Florida, is on the eastern edge of the storm's projected path.
I can remember looking at the radar imagery and just seeing a little jog toward the east and just thinking, man, the right front quadrant, the worst part of the storm is going to hit us. It's headed this way, and it's going to be here soon.
Ivan's path is no surprise to the storm-weary residents of Pensacola. 3 hurricanes, Aaron, Opal, and George, made landfall near here in the decade prior, taking lives and causing millions of dollars in damages. They can't imagine Ivan could be any worse.
You know what it can do. You know what you can do to prepare.
Mark Sigler prepares to weather the hurricane at his home on the barrier island of Pensacola Beach. Since moving to Florida in 1992, Mark has experienced the destruction wrought by 5 hurricanes. In 1995, his first home in the area was destroyed by Hurricane Opal.
It's like Groundhog's Day. You build something up, the storm tears it down, you build it back. The storm tears it down, you build it back.
Frustrated by the cycle of destruction, Mark designs a home that he believes will withstand a hurricane. Completed in 2003, the Dome Home, as it's called, is a concrete bunker, 30 times heavier than a conventional house and aerodynamically shaped. With Ivan making landfall, it is about to face its first test.
When a storm comes, we leave the doors open. The storm surge washes through, and you see the back of the garage has all these openings. That's so that the storm surge can surge out of the house without destroying the house. This house was built, it has 18 of these pilings like this. They're made out of recycled polypropylene, and they have fiberglass rebars through them. They're 17 feet down in the sand, and there's one at the edge of each opening, and then a ring of concrete is poured over the top of that. So this house sits on pilings just like that house, but they're invisible to you. You can't see them, and then you have these walls come up, and they're what's set on the pilings.
Meanwhile, on the barrier island of Pensacola Beach, Mark Sigler and an NBC News crew are riding out Hurricane Ivan in Mark's bunker-like dome home.
Sitting here with us, we've got A.J. Goodwin, who's the producer here, coordinating all of our coverage. And then there's Chuck Stewart, who's here, who's handling all of our audio connections.
Mark believes that the dome can survive a hurricane. Now his life and the lives of the news team depend on it.
We did it like a 6:30 broadcast. Everything was going pretty smooth.
We are actually putting ourselves in an experiment, as you might say. A home that was built here, designed specifically to withstand the forces of Hurricane Category 5 storms. It's called a dome home. You can kind of see over there a traditional home. In all likelihood, by tomorrow, a good portion of that home will be gone. Right
then Mark gets a call from a panicked weatherman in Miami. He warns them that towering waves are on their way and urges Mark to evacuate before the dome home is destroyed.
So I told him, I said, we can't go anywhere. They closed the bridge 6 hours ago. And he said, oh, no. At that point, I could hear the panic in his voice, and I did become pretty alarmed. He said, the storm surge at your house should top out between 20 and 25 feet. The first level on my house is 22 feet.
How come you're not scared?
Who said I'm not scared? If I wasn't scared, I'd be stupid. I just heard something breaking up out there. I'm not sure what that was. I had to tell everybody that was there that, you know, we were facing this situation. And, you know, the consensus was the only thing we can do is film. We would tie a rope onto Kerry Saunders, and he'd go out the deck and stand on that top deck, and we'd hold on to him with the rope so he didn't blow off.
It's incredible. I've got these masks, this mask on just to keep the droplets of rain from stinging my eyes. I've got this wind speed gauge, and let me see if I can just hold it out here and get a reading on it with a gust that comes through. You can see I'm kind of holding myself. We've got.
You know how when somebody goes in a wind tunnel and their skin like ripples back? His skin was actually blowing in a couple of the live shots.
All right, topped out at about 67 miles an hour. I'm going to just come in here. I've got the, fortunately, get in here and close this door.
For now, the gamble to stay in the dome home seems to have paid off.
Got a little breach of the seal along one of the bottom plate seals and one of the plate glass, and we're leaking a little water on the floor here, but we've got 135-mile-an-hour winds outside. It's raining so hard sideways that you literally can't see more than 3 feet out that door. It's absolutely amazing. Kind of feel responsible for a lot of lives in the house, and the house is holding up so far under tremendous loads. Relieved, actually really relieved. I mean, it's held up good. We can literally hear huge chunks of other houses bouncing off of this house.
Now, I got to say, this is something that I never expected, and that is that I'd be able to lay my head on a pillow and go to sleep as a hurricane is blowing outside.
This is a great little setup we got going here. We got just about all the comforts of home. We got a generator, we got satellite phones, we have microwave, we got radios, TV went on. So if this place goes down, I would be very, very surprised that that won't happen. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it was safe.
I've been holding this in. The best part about this job is that I'm not getting wet.
We didn't notice that.
My gear is dry. These guys go out in the rain. Last week, with Hurricane Francis, we were just drenched, right? Here, all my gear is inside this bomb shelter.
It's perfect setup?
It's perfect setup. Perfect. I'm dry.
I hope I can say that tomorrow, but I think so.
I hope it lasts through the night, but I think it
At the dome home, Mark Sigler and the news crew get their first look at the devastation around them.
It was like kids on Christmas morning, you know, what's out there, what's out there. And as the sun came up more and more and you could see the extent of the devastation, everybody just got quieter and quieter, because when you really saw what happened outside, we realized how lucky we were to be alive.
The beach houses that were built on the ground level were just gone. They were just wiped away, no sign they'd ever been there.
The news crew records the first images of the destruction on Pensacola Beach.
I came out this door, and I thought the wind was going to blow me down right off. But I made it out the door. The glass door was still here at the time. Closed my door, shut the door, started walking down. This wasn't here.
What was here?
There was this part of the carport was still here over my head. This was blown down, but the carport was still here. I made it under it. Came down this direction. Water at the time was about up to here. Like a river coming through here, there was current. You had to lean over to go. You couldn't walk straight across hardly. I cut across here because the current was trying to knock me that way. I walked in this direction to get to this house. I just kept walking this way. I made it out into here. Somewhere I made it out into this area. The water's trying to knock me that way. I made it out into here, and it's gradually, maybe the water got blocked by this house. I came on around, got on her driveway, and got to her steps. Yeah, I'm coming up here at the time. The wind must have been blowing like 80 miles an hour because I found out later that it blew 110, and this wasn't the height of the storm. So came up here, blowing about 80. The vinyl's starting to blow off this house. There's stuff blowing around out here already. I was afraid to get a hit on it. Came around here and this is a door that's unlocked in this house. My neighbor told me. I got to here and got in the house and everything seemed to be okay. And so I made it in the house. And
then what happened?
Next thing I knew, the wind started blowing harder after I got in the house and this door blew in. As you can see, all the glass is inside and out here. So I just tried to do my best to stuff pillows and blankets and put the couch up against it because the wind was coming inside the house as far as the access to the attic. The boards were just floating in the air and I thought the roof was going to come off.
Was there ever a point that you didn't think you were going to make it?
No, but I was scared. No, I thought all along, I said I'm going to make it. But the house was shaking. This whole house is not like, I don't know how other houses were out here. This house shook. I mean, it shook. When you set your coat down, it was shaking. Water shaking in it, the whole house was shaking. I thought it was going to fall down.
How long did that last?
That lasted 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it didn't go away fast. It lasted from, the wind howled, it seemed like 9 in the morning till 4 in the morning, really, really bad. As during the course, 1 o'clock in the morning, I got myself out here with 2 flashlights, shining on my house. I could see my roof was blown back. The water was up above my window there in the first pane. That's how high the water got flowing through here. And all through here, washing machines, dryers, swimming pools, decks, big screen TVs, couches, chairs, air conditioners. Was like a river going through here, just a river of debris. And I could only imagine what was going on across the street over there for all mattresses, clothing, just everything imaginable floated right through here.
Gary's story is everyone's absolute nightmare, swimming to safety in the middle of a hurricane. That's not the first time I've heard this story. I've had other friends that have lived on this island through Opal, which was a storm of about half the intensity of this storm. And they literally had to swim to safety during the eye of the storm because their houses had come down around them, so they swam for higher ground before the second half of the storm came in. So it was, that's not a new story for me, and that's one of the reasons I did this, because swimming for your life in a hurricane in the middle of the night, I can't imagine anything being more terrifying than that. Last night in the intensity of the storm, we looked out the windows and couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. So finally I figured out if I took the flashlight and shined it down the elevator shaft, I'd be able to see how much water was in the elevator, so I'd know the actual depth without the wave action. And when I looked down the elevator shaft, I could tell that the water was about up to here. So with the wave action that the meteorologist from Miami told us that we would have, we'd probably between 6 to 8 foot of wave action, which from what we can tell, that's pretty much what happened when it came through here. It blew out our breakaway wall. The stairs were out in this large opening in the front. That was all closed in. There was a big glass window and an aquarium. All that was blown out through the house.
Why did you say to the architect, Jonathan Zimmerman?
Jonathan's my friend. The work that he did and the work that the Monolithic Dome Institute, my engineers did, they saved our lives. If we'd have been out here in one of these other structures, there's a good chance that we wouldn't be here or be badly injured. So they're my heroes.
Now, the news team has to get their footage on the air. With roads impassable, It falls to producer A.J. Goodwin to walk through the wreckage to the mainland.
I basically took the tape that we had to put in a baggie and set out.
Roads have disappeared under the sand. Remnants of houses litter A.J.'s path. The entire landscape has been ravaged.
It was hard to remember what it had looked like the day before and where everything had once belonged. It was just all sort of washed around and washed away. There was a marina up there, and the boats were just all over the place.
It takes her hours to reach the mainland. That evening, her footage is broadcast, giving the nation its first look at the devastation of Pensacola Beach.
I've been to war zones. This was worse than a war zone. It was just flattened.
The hurricane claims 14 lives in Florida, and the state suffers an estimated $4 billion in damage. For the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori.